So I'm trying to use the influence of the law through litigation to increase the gendered perspective in the legal jurisprudence, and that ultimately has a direct impact on the society. A landmark judgment that I was able to get out of the Sindh High Court was on a single mother's freedom to pursue professional ambitions abroad. She was actually remarked as a woman who was perhaps not a good mother. And at the same time, of course, the court was only looking at the rights of the father, which of course the law does protect. So there was no balancing act and there was no precedent from the higher judiciary that the district judiciary could follow. And now it's become a law that it includes women, that they can have professional ambitions, they can travel, they should not have unnecessary restrictions. And of course, the family court should always view the welfare of the child from the perspective of both the mother and the father. My thing is just to get the judge to listen to me. Once the judge starts listening to me, I have a platform to make a point. Otherwise, the practice is that nobody really gets an opportunity to be heard also, which is unfortunate, and I'm working towards making the justice system a little better. I've seen women totally transform in the first year. Once we get the protection orders, we get the residence orders, we get monetary compensation, we give them a safe place to stay. They become, the support that they get, they become just generally beautiful women, and they become so resilient, they are more powerful, they kind of get their lost self-esteem back.
An estimated 350 million people around the world are in need of humanitarian assistance, but the funds have just dramatically declined.
We are underfunded, overstretched, and literally under attack. The needs are going in one direction and the money is going in the other. I think I'm probably the only person in the world now who's been to Darfur, Gaza, Kupiansk, Kabul, Kandahar, Kunduz, Goma, all in the last year. And in all of those crises, I see the impact of these funding cuts, devastating impact on people's lives, on the choices they have to make. And it's a desperate situation.
I actually think there's a moment here where we can rethink the system. For too long, we have provided a humanitarian response to people who are in need. That's certainly appropriate at the beginning of a crisis. But unfortunately, what we have seen play out far too often is that people 10 years down the road from a crisis, 15, 20 years, sometimes an entire generation, people will still depend on humanitarian aid. That suggests that we're failing communities.
While the short-term humanitarian work can come to meet the immediate needs of the communities, it's extremely important that more longer-term development works actually start alongside the humanitarian work.
Everywhere I go, I spend a lot of time with the local teams, local organizations, local communities who really are the front line of the humanitarian response. And it's why I want them to be at the heart of the reset. I want to shift power to those local organizations and away from the center, away from the hierarchy.
In my opinion, real progress on the front of decolonizing aid is investing in communities so that they can lead the development of their own programs or priorities and people following that lead. The true decolonization of aid is a lot more trust-based partnerships and a lot more leadership at the local level. We ask people at the beginning of projects, like, what are the types of things you would like to see? What are the things you need? At the end, we also say, what are the most important things that have happened to you? How should we judge the project? Like, what are your metrics?
The true partnership has to start from the countries where the issues are. They need to lead their efforts, and the international partners, the development partners, humanitarian partners, needs to respect and support that country ownership.
It's not to see people forever and ever as victims in need of aid, but to see them as people who are capable of driving change, who have skills, who have capacity, and who very much want to be part of their own future. Once you get into the creating solutions for communities, that means that you need to move beyond traditional government donors. You need to engage the communities themselves, engage the diaspora, engage the private sector, invite investment in ways that persons have been displaced can take advantage of. It's not governments that create jobs, it's the private sector that creates jobs. So ensuring that people can get access to markets, ensuring that people can compete in those markets, that's the way we can evolve into a new way of responding to humanitarian need.
We work in a lot of communities that are affected by conflict, and sometimes markets just don't have the risk appetite to work in those environments. So I think even though we're excited about different financial tools, it's really important to remember that can't fill the gap and that's not the only solution, and that we still need some of that traditional funding.
The seventh boundary is particularly worrying in my mind because it's the indicator we use for the functioning of the ocean, and we know that the ocean is the largest and most decisive Earth-regulating system we have because of the heat uptake, because of the carbon cycling, thanks to all the life in the ocean, but also as a system that supplies a lot of the nutrient flows across the marine systems on planet Earth. The ocean is warming more rapidly even than we had predicted previously. We have the ocean acidification, we have bleaching events now occurring at a global scale right as we speak for the fourth time, devastating coral reef systems from the Great Barrier Reef all the way to the Caribbean, microplastics, overloading of nitrogen and phosphorus. So we have an overfishing. All these factors occur simultaneously, hitting on the same food basis in the ocean. We actually have scalable solutions that can outcompete the fossil fuel-based incumbents, even without subsidies, or if you even out subsidy levels. And not only that, if you do invest in them, once they're scaled, you come out as a more competitive, healthier, and secure winner. And that, I think, is a narrative that needs to be folded into the risk assessment. We have to act on all fronts simultaneously. Get off fossil fuels, invest in regenerative agriculture and sustainable forestry, stop losing the intact nature we have on planet Earth, particularly the tropical forest systems, the temperate forest systems, and the boreal forest systems, and scale carbon dioxide removal technologies.